Hi, welcome to the lite gameplay overview of the beta version of King Down. Just remember that you can always download the PNP from the main campaign page on Kickstarter. The game includes a board, 4 decks of cards, and 4 sets of miniature armies, and it supports up to 4 players. However, for simplicity's sake, I'm going to cover how the game plays with 2 players for the purpose of this overview. But first things first, how do you win King Down? You win if you're the first player to reach 8 victory points. How do you get victory points? You get victory points for each piece that you've taken from another player, and for each piece that you have in any of the 4 center tiles of the board, known as the capital. You get extra points for taking a king and for having your king in the capital. But before you win, let's start playing. Each player receives an army of their choice that is gathered outside of the board in what is called the camp, and a deck of cards which corresponds to their chosen army. The player who starts draws 3 cards from their deck. The player who goes second draws 4. Each turn, a player has 4 actions which they can spend. They can spend it on any of 4 orders. The first one is draw, which is to draw a card from their deck. This costs 1 action. They can move, which is to move a piece just like they move on chess. So, for example, if I have the rook, I can spend 2 actions, which is how much this order costs. Similarly to the rook, by spending 2 actions. Another order is take, which costs 3 actions. So, for example, if I move the rook in order to take another piece, that would cost me 3 actions. And the last one is call, which is to call a piece from my camp into the board, and that costs 4 actions. So, for example, I can call on any piece that I want into the board, into my front line, for 4 actions. As for call, you can only call a piece from your camp into the front line. So, for example, you can spend 4 actions on your turn in order to get your steed to any of the tiles in the front line. When a piece is in the front line, it is protected from being taken. When a piece is called, it is stunned for that turn, which means that it cannot move or take. Actions can also be spent to play cards from your hand to the table. Each card has a different cost, and there are 2 types of cards in King Down: calling cards and spell cards. Each calling card corresponds to one of your pieces. For example, if your rook piece is in your camp, you can use its calling card to call it into the board. If it is already on the board, you can use its calling card to activate the rook's special power to get a free move. Each piece has a different special power. Each spell card can be played onto a calling card that is already in play, and its effect is applied to the corresponding piece. For example, you can use the shield spell in order to protect your rook when it is outside of your front line. Once you've used up 4 of your actions or less, the turn is over. You can discard any number of cards from your hand at the end of your turn. I discard them into a discard pile, and I pick up a card. The cards that are in play, that I played on this turn, remain in play until the turn comes back to me. Then, at the beginning of my next turn, I pick up all of my cards that are in play back to my hand. That's basically it. There are a few additional rules that tie everything together. Those will be explained in detail in the rulebook, but this is basically the core gameplay of King Down, so long live the king.